You're watching Cheery TV.
Howdy everybody, and welcome back to Stranded Deep in Conversation, where we talk about things that I like to talk about. And we're coming down to the wire here, at least in terms of the first 100 episodes. We're up into 96, which is kind of wild to me. Both because, A, that's a lot of Stranded Deep, but also because I kind of thought I would have hit it already. It's been 2 years of doing this stuff, so I should already be in, 110 range. But you know what? We missed a few episodes along the way, but that's okay. That's okay. We're only human. We're only human out here. And you know what humans love to do? See things. So that's what we're going to be talking about today. It is just going to be sight. This is the plan for the last 5 episodes. We are going to be analyzing the best things to do with your 5 senses, which is an incredibly stupid idea. I understand that, but I think it's fun. I think it'd be fun. I was gonna talk about my work, my school life, but that'll probably be after, or episode 101 will be some of the school stuff that I've done. Yeah. So today, I figured we'd start off with a banger. We'd start off with the best things to look at in the world, in the entirety of the world. And there is no Stranded Deep. No Stranded. There is Stranded Deep. We're right here. We're alive. Hi. Hello. It's me. Hi. There is no This Week in Retail today, mainly because I both forgot what to write, and also there's a lot I want to talk about for these final episodes. So there's probably not going to be any This Week in Retail, unless something insane happens, which is pretty rare nowadays, because it's kind of gotten to a bit of a stand, which is good. I like calm. I like a good calming, relaxing sensation. Also, shout out to before we start, I know you can still their name is Oompa Loompa on YouTube. They left a message from last week's Stranded Deep in Conversation, just saying try to mess around with the microphone, and I did a little bit, so it might sound better, it might sound worse, I don't really know. You can definitely still hear things in the background, but I feel like that's not gonna change, at least with my microphone. I had the gain a lot more up, now it is a lot more down, so hopefully you'll hear it a lot better. Hopefully it'll sound better. That's just what I'm thinking, because it sounds better for me anyway. For OBS, I'm not recording this on OBS, but for OBS it sounds a lot better because there's a lot of filters and stuff you can add in OBS. That I think sounds really good now. But this is kind of okay, I guess. But it's fine. It's fine. I guess to make other voices. I wanted this to wake me up because I'm on, so I have the sounds in my voice. But yeah, so I mean, I have earbuds plugged into the fucking microphone right now, and I feel like it sounds okay. So we're sticking with it. We're sticking to it. We're gonna stick it to the man. But yeah, so either way, we're gonna stop talking. But thank you for the nice recommendations and stuff. I appreciate it. In terms of editing and cuts, at least not for this series. This I always imagined to sort of just be the podcast of my channel, just me sitting down talking about whatever I want to talk about for 45 minutes, and then we go home and we live, and I play Stranded Deep in the background because I like the name of the series. I think it's a funny name. Sorry if you're looking for Stranded Deep content, but it's pretty much not that. It couldn't be further from proper I've not figured out anything with this game, if I'm being completely honest. I'm not in the game right now. I'm recording over it. I don't know what I'm doing in the game, honestly, at this point. It's crazy. It's insane. I looked it up a little bit ago, and it was oh yeah, there's bosses to fight. I didn't fucking know that. I thought there was literally just you make a helicopter and you ball, but apparently you need to fight bosses, and then you can make the helicopter. Where do you find the bosses? Apparently it's different for everybody. I don't know if I'm ever gonna be able to do that. That was part of my dream last night. Holy shit, I just remembered that. Yeah, I had a dream where I was playing Stranded Deep. When I was inside of Stranded Deep, I was the person on the raft. And suddenly, 3 gigantic fucking sharks started to swarm my raft and just ride under me. And they were trying to fucking eat me. That was part of the dream. Like, my sister was watching me play, but also, I guess, it was more like a VR situation, so they kind of saw me, and they're like, "Oh my god, don't watch, what the fuck are those things? Get out of there." It was like a weird, it was like a Jaws situation, but with Stranded Deep. I keep almost calling the game Stranded Deep in conversation. Whenever I look up the type of game that it is, I wind up filling in conversation, because I've associated it with that so much in my brain. But either way, let's get to the topic for today, which is the best site, the best thing to look at. I'm going strictly based off of the things that I have seen, though. Let me make this very clear. These are my best sites. Everyone else can have a different best site, but ultimately one of these is guaranteed to be the best site you'll ever see. So it depends on what you have seen, but these are 10 of the things that I've seen personally that I think are genuinely the best things to look at in the entirety of the world. But first, let's go over some honorable mentions, because there's 5 things that I have not seen, but everyone can agree they are some of the most beautiful things you could ever look at in the world, and I'm willing to see their point there. So the first one, of course, is Aurora Borealis, the Northern Lights. That is supposed to be a spectacle of light in the sky, such beautiful, vibrant colors just floating around, and it sounds beautiful, and I want to see it. I don't think I'm gonna see it, but I want to see it. It could be cool. Maybe that's the next trip. Apparently, Aurora Borealis is incredibly visible for like the whole northern part of the United States, and I, living in Pennsylvania, just was barely out of range to even see a little bit of it, which is a shame. But what are you gonna do? It's okay. I'll be fine. Like, I'm not saying like I think I would have had to go a fair bit out of my way to see it, and I would have. I totally would have if I wasn't so last minute on it like I was with everything else. But there's been a bit more circumstances that lead to me not really being able to do everything super last minute like last time, so I didn't get to see it. That's okay. Eventually another time will roll around. I feel like Aurora Borealis, people talk about it a lot. I don't know if it's like a once every few years thing, or if it's just like on a good day you'll be able to see this. Like, I have no idea how this works. I don't know. No, I need to do some research. Like, with Total Eclipse, like, I did some research, and I was like, holy shit, this is so rare, I need to go see this right now. I didn't do anything for Aurora Borealis, and also I feel like that would have just made me get hella FOMO'd out of my brain. But for things that are like once in a lifetime opportunities, I feel like it's okay to throw a little bit of FOMO at people, you know? Just like, hey, you gotta see this thing. If you don't see it, you'll never see it again. Look at it! Look at it! I feel like sometimes that's fair. The next honorable mention, I'm not gonna go over them too. I'm gonna briefly go over these so we can go over my top 10. Looking at the Earth from space. I'm never gonna be an astronaut. I'm never gonna be one of those people who sees Earth from space. But that is apparently supposed to be one of the most like life-changing views of your entire life. Like, there's nothing else really that makes someone change visually as looking at Earth from space. Because getting that perspective change, like, holy shit, all of my problems are that little speck down there, and I see all of this. This thing is massive. Like, how far away from Earth do you have to be to see the entire fucking planet from space? Like, that's far. Like, you're really pushing the boundaries of what is real at that point, at least for me in my head. So that would be an insane thing to look at. Again, all of these things I would want to see. I would want to see because they're just beautiful, but I haven't. The next one is the Grand Canyon, because I personally believe that's one of the more beautiful natural landmarks, and also just the idea of having a huge freaking canyon that's so big that, like, you have to fucking, like, look around to see it. Like, it's something to have something where you look at it, you're staring at it in one spot, and you're like, that's cool, I like that. It's another to have to take it in, you know, taking something in. Aurora Borealis, you have to take in. Looking at Earth, all these things, you have to take in. Especially natural things, you have to just sit there and appreciate by taking it all in. You can't just, like, sit there and look at one spot. And I feel like that just makes it more beautiful as well. But also, just the Grand Canyon sounds like a beautiful, beautiful thing to be around. I want to see the Grand Canyon at one point. It's in the United States, so I could go see it eventually. I could go see anything eventually, in theory, but I'm a coward and afraid of flying. So anyway, the next one is your child being born. This one, I feel like if you were to Google what's the best thing you ever looked at in your entire life, because I did Google this. Most people had something to do with their kids, and most of them were their child being born. So you know, it's kind of just a no-brainer. You know, if it's your child, you're like, oh my god, this is the greatest thing that's ever happened in my life. I'm never gonna forget this moment for all of my life. Makes perfect sense. I don't have a child, so I can't say I've seen this. But if I were to have seen it, it'd probably be pretty cool. I don't want to be like on the doctor's end though. I want it to feel like they're taking a baby out of like a Mario warp pipe out of my wife, and then hello, it's a baby. Like, I don't want to see all that. I don't think anyone wants to see that. I don't think the doctors want to see that. But the last thing that I have for honorable mentions is a completely empty email inbox. This is incredibly biased for me, because I hate email. I hate email so much. And I was going to put this in the top 10, but I realized I've never actually seen a completely empty inbox with genuinicity. There's always at least one email that I don't have like a specific label for, so I don't want to like just make a whole nother label for one email. So I'll just have it sitting in there in like the primary inbox, and I'm like, oh fuck. I don't want it. Like, I hate email. I despise email. And I'm clicking through my emails right now, and there's a few. There's still a few emails in there. I've read them all. I just hate email. I hate email. So having an empty inbox means no one's trying to use this horrible method of discussion to get my attention. And as I say that, Spotify just recommends me concerts near me. I'm not interested. I kind of am interested, but I'm not interested, because I'm okay. You know, I feel like I've gotten my fair share of concerts in. And I didn't actually include this in my top 10, but there is one. I mean, this is an honorable mention. Being in a concert, you know, like seeing the band you wanted to see for a while on stage performing. I have seen that. I don't know if it necessarily breaks top 10. It might, because I think a couple of these were kind of just like thrown in there because I didn't really have many other options. But I do feel like these are 10 genuine things that I love to look at. But you know, like when I was in my two concerts, my Weird Al, my NSP one, they were fucking mind blowing. Just that whole environment was incredible. Seeing them was incredible. I feel like the environment was more incredible than the visual itself. So I can't necessarily say that's one of the best sites, but that was one of the best experiences that I ever had. If I had planned this one ahead, I would have the end be the best experiences. But I guess I'm a little too stupid to plan ahead that properly. But with that, everybody, ladies and gentlemen, let's get into my top 10 best sites in the world. These aren't listed in order either, by the way. These are just 10 of the things that I think are the best to look at that I've personally actually seen, which most of them are pretty not super special, but they're special in their own way. But we're going to start with something that is special and something I've talked about a lot on this channel, the total solar eclipse. Because on April 8th, you know, the grand majority of the United States is able to see the eclipse. But if you were in a specific spot, you could see the total solar eclipse. You're in a specific beam of the United States. And I live just outside of that beam normally. I was at 98% totality from where I am, which is a lot. 90, 95, somewhere within the 90% and higher range is where I am. I normally live. And that was cool. I was okay with that. I was like, okay, cool. We're gonna see this thing. It's gonna be cool. And then I started seeing more and more things about how total eclipse is what you want to see. It is the most it is one of the most just breathtaking and experience-changing views you're ever gonna see. And I'm like, okay, I'm sold. I went on a huge rabbit hole for this, a week before the actual eclipse, and I was sold. I was sold so hard, and I was like, okay, well, I'm gonna be seeing it, right? Apparently not, because at that point I thought I was in range. I wasn't in range. So then I had to figure out how to get in range, which I've already mentioned this story in a previous Stranded Deep. in conversation. So if you wanted to go check that one out, it's my Eclipse Adventure, I believe, is the episode name. I'm looking for it. It was apparently a fair bit ago now. I guess it has been 2 months since then, huh? What a world. Yeah, here it is. My Eclipse Adventure, episode 88. 88, everybody. Episode 88. It's a longer one, so if you want to know my experience with that, go check it out. But otherwise, all to say, it was one of the most beautiful things I've ever seen in my life. Just seeing the coronas and stuff like swirling around the sun was amazing. Getting that experience, seeing truly, just I can't describe it. I really can't. But it was just one of those beautiful things. And again, similar thing with the Grand Canyon, I can imagine. Taking it all in, because you look away from the total eclipse for a second, the entire sky is dark, completely dark. It is nighttime out of nowhere, and you're just sitting there thinking, wow, this is crazy. And then like the fucking animals, this isn't a sight, but I feel like that might come up in the best sound episode. The seagulls screaming their fucking heads off when it started getting dark, because everywhere online was like, all the animals are gonna go quiet because they think it's nighttime, they're gonna go to sleep. Not the fucking seagulls. The seagulls went apeshit crazy. It was hilarious. But that whole experience is something I'll never forget, and it's probably the only thing on this list that has genuinely made me cry seeing it. Like, after the total eclipse ended, like I couldn't I looked away for a little bit just to see the sky, like my sisters were talking about. I didn't look away for the entirety of the eclipse. Like, once the total eclipse, like, other than like the beginning of it. And then after it went away, I just cried my eyes off until it was over. I was looking and crying and just taking it in, just this beauty that I've actually been able to see. It all came to fruition, and I was able to see this thing, and it was beautiful. It was genuinely, like, I was thinking about the things I've seen, and to make this list, and I almost cried again thinking about it, and I'm about to now. I can't explain just why this means so much, but it does, It really just does at the end of the day. So that's that. That's the total solar eclipse, everybody. If you want to hear more about it, I do have a Stranded Deep talking about it from like a couple months ago. It's pretty good stuff. I had a very, very good time doing that. And again, it's just beautiful. Like, depending on any situation, that shit's just beautiful. And you'll notice here now that pretty much none of the other things I'm going to be listing are going to be like actual like destinations or like things in the universe to see. And it's weird because I didn't really add many landmarks. I didn't add any like human-made landmarks, like no Eiffel Tower, no pyramids and stuff. I only added like natural landmarks or natural phenomena, which I just thought was interesting because I didn't even notice that until I was done with the list. It's like, oh shit, yeah, I didn't even include like the Leaning Tower of Pisa or something, fucking like some of those like touristed like market things, And I feel like that's pretty fair because in my eyes, at least, it could be made again. If some evil person takes a sledgehammer to the bottom of the Eiffel Tower and just goes dunk, 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 dunk until one side is leaning a little too weird and it falls over and miraculously doesn't hurt or kill anybody or anything, it can be remade. Like it won't be the same Eiffel Tower, but it'll have more history in that, and then it'll be the Eiffel Tower for everyone, for every generation beyond this one. It will be the Eiffel Tower, and that's just how it is. But with things like an eclipse or like the Aurora Borealis, or like, well, at least for those, I imagine the Aurora Borealis and the Grand Canyon and stuff, there's only one of those. If it goes, it goes. And like obviously with the total eclipses, it's not only one, but like they're very few and far between, and it's like something that most people don't get to see in their entire life, and which is fair for a lot of the same things. It's a weird thing going on in my brain. I think the reason that it's mostly natural phenomena and not human-made things is that those can be remade. These, once they're gone, and then you have to either wait for them to show up again on their own, or they're just gone. you know? Like the Great Barrier Reef. That should be an honorable mention. Before we fucking destroy the Great Barrier Reef. Have you seen pictures of the Great Barrier Reef before? Oh my god, it's one of the most beautiful things in the universe. And it's basically gone. And it sucks. It sucks so hard to think about that. So I'm not going to think about that. I'm going to move on to my next one. Because there is one human-made thing, excluding like people and stuff, that I have on this list. Human-made fire. Just fire. A campfire especially, but fire in general. I don't know what it is. Fire fascinates me. Fire is one of those things that is just really cool. Like I don't set things on fire. I'll make this very clear. I don't do that. I don't burn things for fun. I'm not one of those people. But just seeing a fire, seeing like a lit fire, it's beautiful to me. I just love that. And I say a campfire especially because that just sort of brings like a hominess like to the fire, and just seeing that big old thing and just engulfing in flame, just smoking around you. I don't know what it is about it. It's just beautiful, you know. I guess seeing those like little sparks and just the motions of fire is so fascinating. It's so cool, and again, it's one of those things that pretty much everyone has seen. But think about it, like millions of years ago, fires didn't exist, or maybe like thousands of years ago. I don't remember when humans came around. I was in college for history. I don't remember that. That's sad. I don't remember anything. That's really sad. But the fire, it didn't exist, and miraculously one day, some guy was just like, bam, fire. Here you go. Enjoy it. And it's crazy. It's actually insane. Like it's just, even to throw away all the actual nice and useful aspects of fire, it's just beautiful. It really is just beautiful. That's why people get fireplaces nowadays. Not just for the heat. People get virtual fireplaces because they just like seeing the fire. They like that homey aesthetic that just a roaring fire gives to a place. And I get it. I completely get it. And I 100% get it. And if I could, I would have one in my house. But no. No. I wouldn't get a real fireplace, because those things require maintenance and a chimney. That's disgusting. And just a whole lot of bad. Just a whole lot of stuff that I don't need, you know? Like, just set me up with some fucking heater. Just give me a heater. And give me a heater and a fake fireplace, like 10-hour YouTube video. And then bam, I'm sold. That's all I need. But obviously, if I was looking at a fire in real life, would be a lot different. But fire in general, just really, I don't really know what it is. It's just beautiful. Like that was one of the first things I wrote down, and it's one of the only things that really stayed consistent when I was thinking, like, doubling over, like, is this really? Fire just stayed, because I just think fire is awesome. Fire is really fucking pretty. If you guys have not seen Fire, first of all, stick, fire, and then look at it, because it's really nice. So that's Fire. Next one I have, and the rest of these are very situational things that I'm sure that 99% of you guys have seen in your life. So these are things that everyone has seen. Everyone possibly even takes for granted. And I do too. But when you really soak in the situation, it's just one of the really happier things about my life, for me anyway. And the first one, straight up, is coming home after work or after school or whatever it may be. You were out for a long day, and you come home and you see your pet. Just whether it be a dog or a cat by the door, excited to see you. Whether it's like your guinea pigs or your hamsters or whatever in your cage. When you get into your room, you're like, oh, little babies, what's going on, little dudes? And then they start squeaking their asses off. Nothing really beats that for me. There's a few things that, like obviously seeing your family after the day is nice. Or whoever you live with is nice to see them. But there's something special about the surprisingly unconditional love from my cats, especially Soup. Everyone knows Soup. If you don't know Soup, he's great. He's a black cat. He's awesome. He's cool. He's the best. He's basically a dog in a cat's body. He's awesome. He loves attention. He loves me in particular, but not in like an asshole way like one of my other cats does. He's just a wholesome little dude. And whenever I come home, he runs up to the door, screams at me, runs back into my room, and we flop around for a while. And nothing quite beats that. Like, there's days where I don't really need or want that because I'm always tired. And I feel bad because he's just so happy to see me. Like, he's in the purest state of bliss. Meanwhile, I'm just like, I'm tired, super. I'm not fucking around today. I'm going to bed. Well, I say I'm going to bed. I'm going to sit down for 5 hours and do nothing. But it's just really nice when you actually sit down and appreciate what's happening. It's just blinding love being thrown at both directions if you actually appreciate what's going on around you. It's really just love from animal, and then animal to human to animal to human love of just pure wholesome bullshit. It's fun and I love it. One of my favorite things, just in general, is seeing Soup when I come home. Wow, that stung my face. Soup. How did I even do this? I like really hard emphasize this, but I can't do it again. So is the way. Next up, sort of in a very similar vein, actually, is seeing a family member or a friend you haven't seen in a while. Because again, like I said, if you come home and you see this person that you live with every day for like years, you get kind of tired of it. For whatever reason, animals are different. Animals are just different. You can't really talk to them. You only see them when you see them. If you're outside, you can't just go call them on the phone and be like, "What's going on, Soup?" You only really see them when you see them. With people, you can talk to them all you want on the phone, online, however you do it. But there's something special about finally being able to see somebody you have not seen in a long time. No matter how long the time is for you, there's a weird gap period. They're like I feel like it's at least a couple weeks, but after that, obviously, after like 2 or 3 weeks, it starts, and then it jumps every week, like exponentially, how much it will be awesome to see them again. One really good example that's a pretty consistent example for me is my older sister, because she's moved out of our family abode, and we don't see her as much. She still lives kind of nearby, but like we don't see her as much as we used to. And we're all very busy. We all work. We all do stuff. So there's rarely a time where we're all sort of synced up so we can all see each other. My sisters, they see each other every week because they both have Fridays off. They make sure they had Fridays off so they can just they got things they got to do on Fridays. So it's cool. They get to see each other, and it's awesome. I don't really get Fridays off. So whenever I do see them, it's usually like several weeks to even like a couple of months apart of just seeing my sister. And I cannot emphasize it enough. My family is like some of the best people I know, if not the best people I know. And my older sister is truly like top 5 people ever in the universe for me. Like there's like not a lot of people that I don't think anyone can really top them. But there's a lot of people that are like on the same wavelength as them, like perfectly. Like most of my family is. She's great. She's a great person, and I really do enjoy their company. And being able to be around them is awesome, which has been happening less and less. So it's just nice to finally like have a Friday, or like we'll be like, okay, what if we just hang out on Thursday? Well, Thursday, right? No. All right, we'll show up like really early on Thursday, or really early on Friday, whatever. We'll do something. We'll figure it out. We gotta figure it out. It sucks. And the feeling is always mutual, which is one of the better things too. Like if you see someone and you're like, oh my god, it's you, how have you been? And they don't share that same sort of excitement, that sucks. That's one of the worst sights and one of the worst experiences. But one of the best sights, again, just going wherever you're going and then seeing someone you haven't seen in a while. Like spoiler alert. Sometime early July, I'm going to be going back to Brooklyn, and it's going to be awesome because I'm going to see my friends that I've not seen since August of last year, and since before that, it's been like a 2-year gap. So I've only really seen them twice now in the past 2 or 3 years. It sucks. It sucks a lot because we used to hang out like every day after school, just doing shit, and we still do stuff like daily. Like we still talk to each other. It's just that we don't we haven't seen each other in years, so it's gonna be a very, very beautiful sight just to see my friends again, because I love those fuckers. I wouldn't tell that to them because they're like that type of person. They're very like not expressing of that sort of emotion to each other, which is fair. Again, we're friends. I'm not upset about it. I'm used to it. It's fine. But I do love those bastards wholeheartedly, and so it's gonna be good to see them again. Another. Let's get another one. We got like what, 6 more? 6 more. So to top off the top half of this list for me, it is looking around your room or house, either one, that you just finished cleaning or rearranging. I feel like the satisfaction is second to none when you're like, especially for me, because I almost always feel like I have to fix up my room somehow. Like, I always wind up with shit like on the table, or just my couch unmade. Again, I have a recliner, so I have room for VR stuff. So I don't have a bed, I have a recliner. I basically have a living room for a bedroom, and I love it. It's great. But there's a lot of just, I wind up feeling like I need to clean a lot more. Like, I just clean okay, here's a really prime example from just last night. I have my desk, my nice solid desk right here. You don't see it, but I like it. It's cool. It's here. It does exist, I swear. And I didn't really like vacuum it or dust it or anything for like a few months probably. So a lot of like cat hair and like my hair and dust that are sort of building up around the edges and like in the middle and everything. Like the mouse pad was starting to get a little weird. So I was like, you know what? I'm gonna take the time to vacuum it with like my little hand vacuum and like wipe off the dust and stuff. And it looked beautiful. When I was done and I put everything back on and I was able to just sit down and appreciate it, I was so happy. I was just so happy to see this. I was like, finally, it doesn't look gross. I can finally be happy sitting here. It's a nice feeling. That was immediately ruined because then Soup went to sit on my desk instead of sitting. Like I went to sit down and go to bed, and then Soup's like, "Hey, what if I just sit on your desk and stare at you while you sleep? How about that?" So there's now a bunch more hair, but it's not as much. It's in weird spots. Like he sat on this side of the desk, and it all flew over to that side of the desk. I don't understand. Probably because the fan was on last night. That makes sense. But yeah, just cleaning anything really, and just being done, seeing it when it's fully, completely done. Like I rearranged my closets a little bit last night too. Like I did a little bit of cleaning, not a whole lot of cleaning. I want to clean more in my room. I want to get rid of a bunch of shit, but I don't. Too much stuff to do. But yeah, like just rearranging something, cleaning something, and then just sitting down or standing, just staring at it, just acknowledging all the shit you've done and looking at how nice it looks. It's second to none. Even like at work, like I do a lot of organization at work whenever I'm just like bored and there's nothing to do. I'll be like, okay, I'll clean up behind the counter. I'll clean up in the back, all that sort of stuff. And just being done is awesome. It makes you feel like you really did something that day. Because yesterday it was a disaster. You weren't happy with how things looked, and then you fixed it, and now it's good, and you're satisfied. At least I'm satisfied. So that's definitely one of the things. It's the best thing. Again, the best thing to look at doesn't necessarily need to be a specific thing. It can be anything under the right circumstances, like cleaning. And like this one as well, a gift that you just got that you've always wanted. Whether you bought it for yourself or whether someone bought it for you, just having the thing you've been eyeballing for ages, having it, is incredible. And that's very like materialistic. I understand that, but it's the world we live in, baby. And you know what? I'm okay with it. I'm okay with it because listen, when you're, everyone does it. Like whether or not you want to admit it, everyone like goes oogly at something at some point. They see this new game they're like, oh, that looks cool. Or they see this instrument or this like furniture piece or just something, anything. Could literally be anything. It could be like a fucking chocolate bar from down the street. And you're like, oh, I really want that today. And then your friend just goes and buys it for you. You're like, oh, this is awesome. Obviously a little bit less, but I'm thinking about like bigger gifts that you've wanted for a while, like things you've been eyeballing for like ages, and you're like, oh man, I really want that thing, but I shouldn't. I can't. I shouldn't. I can't. And then you either pull a plug and get it, or someone gets it for you for like Christmas or your birthday, or it just says, hey, random day, random gift, enjoy. Just having that is amazing. The example that I have that was most recent was on Saturday. I went out. We went with my sister. Went to a few places around town, and one of them was a music store. I, as some of you may know, am fascinated by musical instruments. I don't know why. I just am. They're just cool. I love music. I love musical instruments. And it's weird because I used to not listen to any music at all as a kid. Like, not until like middle of high school that I actually started appreciating and sitting down with music more. But I feel like throughout my entire life, I was always like interested in at least making music, just doing dumb shit with instruments. I love that. And my sister knew this, my older sister. So when they moved out the first time, they gave me their old like pink guitar, like an acoustic guitar. And I fell in love with it, and I was having a good time. But it was, to be completely fair, it was a fairly cheap guitar. So it was very tight. Like the strings were you had to push very far down to actually get them to hit the fretboard to actually make the notes. So it hurt to play. So after a while, I just gave up because I was like, fuck, this just hurts. And eventually I did grow calluses, so it was a little bit easier to do. But then somehow the calluses ripped off during work when I was like scrubbing something, and I was like, well, fuck, this my fingers hurt. And then I went back to play guitar, and they never really grew in the same way. So it just kind of hurt to exist with that guitar, so I put it down for a while, and then eventually my sister got me a banjo, and then I stared at that for ages. But the main thing from recent memory was on Saturday when I went out to the music store, and I was looking at guitars, and there was a really pretty electric acoustic guitar. It was like a dark gray, like dark brown wood, and it just looked beautiful. It sounded beautiful, and it was like $200. And I was like, you know what? Fuck it. Why not? And I got it for like $200. It was under $200. It was like 180. I was like, fuck it, sure, why not? And I came home, and I didn't even play it when I got home. I just sat it down, and I sat down, and I stared at it for like 5 minutes, just being like, this is in my room. I'm in the presence of this fucking beautiful thing. Because I've always wanted to get a new guitar, but I was always too afraid to do it. And then I found one that I thought was really nice, and it was fairly cheap for a guitar. Like, I don't know the exact. If I were to type in average cost of a good acoustic guitar, a good rule of thumb for acoustics is 300 to 500 are decent sounding, but once you go above that is when they sound really, really good. This was only 180, and it sounds very good, and it's also an electric acoustic guitar. Like, it's really good. Between 400 and 900 is the general range for a good acoustic. And I'm sure I could get a better one. For sure. Probably. But this one just does a lot of things I wanted to do. And it sounds beautiful. And it's easy to play. And that's the main thing that makes me happy. It's really fucking easy to just hold the fucking strings down. I was like, I basically put my fingers on it. Like, oh, cool. I can play the chord. It's just amazing. So it's really fun. It's really good. It's really good. I guess it doesn't have to be a guitar. It could be anything. Any gift that you've been looking at for a while. A Lego. I'm naming a bunch of things that I've always wanted, but you guys, I know there's things that people have had that you can relate. 4 more things. We're gonna try to go a little bit faster. Looking out a frosted window and seeing snow falling is one of the better things I've seen in my life. Like I'm not saying like a stained glass window. I mean, like, it's cold out. It's like the middle of winter. And you wake up and like your window is like kind of like that like weird white edges surrounding it, so it's like it's been like pretty cold. It's like starting to get like frosty, and you look outside and you just see some snow falling, like pretty heavy snow, like enough to where you can like it's pretty obvious that it's falling, and there's some like sticking to the ground. It's starting to like build up a little bit. That's beautiful. I love that. Like, obviously driving in snow sucks, but I don't drive, so I still have that childlike joy whenever I see snow, and it's great. I love snow. Snow is fantastic. I have no beef with snow. I have no beef with rain. I love weather. I love when the weather is wacky, because when the weather's wacky, it feels nice. When it's raining, it feels nice to be rained on. It's just a shower. That's really all it is a shower, and I like going in the shower. It's a nice cold shower. I love that. I love that. So rain is great. Snow just feels good and it's fun. Like it's just love it. And seeing it, but one of the bigger things is obviously because eventually it gets cold. It's like, owie, okay, I'm gonna go back inside and just sit down and warm up. But when you're just out, you're inside, looking outside, and you see the snow falling. I don't know what it is about that. I think that's beautiful. I think that's a beautiful sight to see, and I'm a very big fan of that sight. This next one's a bit strange. The first time booting up a new computer or a first time setup on a device, like a new device, like getting to the first time setup and seeing the first time setup process, I think that's one of the more beautiful things to see because it just means you got some new tech and you got something that you've wanted. It's kind of in the same range as Gift, but like with extra steps. Because you're like booting. I love the first time setup because that's when I first get to play with the thing, and you get to experience the thing, and it's a lot of fun doing that. I enjoy doing that a lot. So just the first time setup is the first step into having a good time with this new thing, and as such, I love it to death. It's very fun. People don't really like first time setup, and that makes sense. Like for my phone, it was kind of annoying because I had to like sit there for like an hour and a half just so I could get all my fucking pictures back on it. But after that, and even during that, it's a new experience. Getting to seeing a new thing, seeing a new experience, just one of the better things. Like the first time you do anything is kind of awesome. The first time set up for a device like you've never had before, and now having it and using it and setting it up, I love that. I love that a lot. Seeing people create. Well, this is number 9. Seeing people enjoy the things you create. This is obviously a very YouTuber-y thing. But it does bring me a lot of joy when I go, like I work on a thing and then I post it and then like it gets people looking at it. Someone likes it. Even like just seeing the likes, because again, you can still see dislikes and likes. Like you guys can't, but the creators can. Which doesn't make any sense for me, but hey, whatever, it's what it is. And seeing the likes on there just kind of makes me smile. I'm like, oh, someone enjoyed it. Even if it's just one, that's it. I'm not a big channel in the slightest. But if anything, I'll get like 1 or 2 likes on a video. But that's really all I need to just be happy. Like again, I'm making all this stuff just because I think it's fun, because I enjoy it. And if anyone does enjoy it on the sidelines, that makes me happy, because I'm like, hey, I'm entertaining other people and they're enjoying it. It's not like a jester or like a fucking, or like they're like, it's not like a comedian who goes out there just to make bad jokes and get tomatoes thrown at him and they enjoy that. It's I'm making something funny or I'm talking something interesting enough that people are enjoying their stay, and that's really nice and that feels really good. And then like in the comments where people are like, oh, this is great, this is really good stuff, that makes me smile. That gives me a good time, a good feeling in the old tum-tum. I just love it. It makes me feel nice and warm and special and cool. So there's that. The last thing I have, number 10, is someone or a group of people you're hanging out with laughing. This is very, again, biased for me. I love making people laugh. Sometimes I'm not good at it. I don't really try. Like, especially like with this, especially, but with like my friends, I never really try to make people laugh. Like when a joke comes up in my brain, I will say it just because it's funny. And if it hits, it hits. If it doesn't hit, it doesn't hit. It's kind of how it is. And I just enjoy getting the laugh out of people because that means they're having a good time. So I can tell that they're having a good time and they're enjoying themselves and they're having a fun time in my presence. But also they're just enjoying life in that moment, because I genuinely love life, and I think it's great. I love everyone in my life. I love all the things I'm doing with my life. I'm having a lot of fun just being alive. There are some downsides. There's some bad things going on, and that sucks. But I try to appreciate the good things more than dwell and linger on the bad things. And I do it pretty well because I just. If as long as I'm busy doing something I enjoy, I forget everything that is bad or even that is neutral. It's just good. Just have a good time, good feelings. It's good. It's just fun. I enjoy my life, and seeing other people enjoy theirs makes me very happy. And laughing is like the main thing. One of the bigger tells that someone's enjoying the moment, at least, is the laughing and the smiling. I love that. That makes me smile. That makes me happy. Seeing other people happy makes me happy. Is that so wrong? And I think that doesn't. I think that is so right that it belongs in the top 10 best things you could ever look at ever. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, I will give a quick briefing on what I believe are the top 10. Total solar eclipse, fire, coming home and seeing your pet after a long day, seeing a family member or a friend you haven't seen in a long time, cleaning up a room or organizing a house or whatever big or small, and just being done with it and looking at it and just feeling that, looking outside and seeing snow falling on the ground and sticking is a very important part of that. Seeing a gift that you've always wanted just in your presence, whether or not whoever bought it, just having something that you've wanted for a long time, just getting to look at it. First time booting up a new computer or device, first time setup, just going through that process, seeing that process makes me very happy. Seeing people enjoy things that I create, and some people that you're hanging out with laughing and smiling and enjoying themselves. Those are my 10 best sights in the world. They're not ranked in any particular order. I don't think I could give any. If I had to choose the best, because again, this is the best sight, if I had to choose the best one, I don't know. It wouldn't be the satisfaction of cleaning. It wouldn't be the wind. It wouldn't be the snow. It wouldn't be the gift. It wouldn't be the first time setup. It wouldn't be the fire, even though I really do like fire. I don't think it would be coming home and seeing my pet. Total solar eclipse, in terms of thing that I will never see again, that is like the peak. That might be number one. But in terms of things that you get to experience and are fun experiencing, I do think seeing other people laughing and enjoying themselves makes me happier than most things that I could imagine. So it's either if you're talking about the best sight, like on a universal scale, total solar eclipse probably takes the best point. But personal scale, I would say, is either seeing people enjoying things that I create, because that means everyone's having a good time enjoying it, or people are just enjoying their time, they're having fun, smiling, laughing, and I feel like that's great too. Just enjoyment. That will be the best sight for me. Enjoyment. Just appreciating enjoyment. I feel like that's a good word to use for that. So it's either the total solar eclipse or just enjoyment, which I feel is a pretty good summary of my life and my thought process. So with that, everybody, I'd like to thank you all for tuning in to this episode of Stranded Deep in Conversation. Next week, we're going over another sense. You'll find out on Saturday what that is. And until then, I'll see you all next time. Bye, everybody. Take care.